Chapter 5. It was a fine morning. The big red sun was just peeking over the horizon as if he wasn't quite awake yet and hated to get up. The birds were singing like everything right up in the top of the big walnut tree, which grew on the other side of the garden and where we had the biggest swing in the whole neighborhood, and where the gang liked to play was a robin hollering for all he's worth, "Jasper College! Get up! Get up!" I like robins, even if they did call me Jasper. And down on the ground, with his head cocked to one side listening for a worm, was another robin, Redbreast, standing in the sunlight. He must have heard a worm all right, for all of a sudden he turned like a flash and pulled at something with his big black and yellow bill. And sure enough, in a second there was a big long fishing worm in his beak, twisting and squirming like it was on a hook. It really doesn't hurt fishing worms much to be put on a hook, Dad said once. Dad is sort of a scientist farmer, and he said something about it being just a minor irritation, kind of like a boy getting his neck and ears washed with soap and water when he'd rather wash them himself by swimming and diving in Sugar Creek. Pretty soon that robin flew up into the fork of the walnut tree where there was a nest full of little robins, quadruplets, waiting for their breakfast. I think of eating worms for breakfast. Worms! Ugh! I dressed in a hurry because today was to be the big day. Right after dinner, the gang would all get together and Poetry would tell us what he'd found in the hollow tree down by the haunted swamp. We'd all arm ourselves with bows and arrows and slingshots and a big club for little Jim, and the fun would begin. First thing though, was getting through the morning, which would be awful long since all of us boys helped our folks in the morning. That was Big Jim's rule. I guess there never was a boy who liked to work unless he could imagine his work as play, but Mom had been trying to teach me ever since I was little that work came first and then play. I guess she was right, because besides, if you really love your parents, you like to do things that make them happy. I helped Mom wipe the dishes, which most boys think it's a girl's job, but it isn't when you don't have any girls in your family. I finished raking the lawn, built a fire, burned all the dead grass and leaves, and gathered up all the tin cans and things that somehow got scattered all over the barnyard, mainly because I'd been using them for imaginary golf balls. Then I dropped the potato slices with the eyes in them into a long, deep rows Dad had made across the garden. I stepped on them with my bare feet so they'd be pressed down into the dirt better and would grow quicker. Maybe you think it wasn't fun, feeling the cool, damp dirt oozing between my toes. And finally, it was noon, dinner time, and we had fish for dinner. What kind of bait did you use to catch this bass? Dad asked. And I said between mouthfuls, having a hard time to eat slowly on account of having to meet the gang at 1 o'clock. Why, just plain old worms. Why? I just wondered. Dad said. I found a nice little chub on the inside of it. A chub is a small carp-like fish, you know. And the little chub was full of fishing worms. Dad added. I was surprised. That meant that first I'd hooked a little chub, and then the bigger bass had come along and swallowed the chub. Right away, I knew what kind of bait to use for bass the next time I wanted to catch one. It'll be all right to fish for bass today, Dad said. If the game warden had seen you catch that one yesterday, it would have been too bad. You didn't know, but it wasn't bass season yet. Well, in 10 minutes to 1, I was ready to go down to the spring where the gang had agreed to meet. It was Thursday, and we always met there on Thursday afternoons, if we could. I ran upstairs to get my binoculars, thinking maybe we'd need them on the way down again. I stopped to fasten the strap around my neck. Dad had the radio going, listening to the midday news, and all of a sudden I went numb all over. At just that minute, I'd heard an announcer say, Be warned to be on the lookout for a man suspected of being an accomplice in a bank holdup. It is believed he is hiding somewhere in the swamp. I couldn't make out where in the swamp because I couldn't make out where in the swamp because there was a lot of static on the radio. He's described as having black hair and eyes, and when I got downstairs and looked at myself in the mirror, I was white as a sheet. But I hurried out the door quickly so my folks wouldn't see me and ran as fast as I could through the woods towards the spring. My heart beat wildly because of what I heard and because it looked like maybe we were going to have the chance to help catch a real robber.